You really can't escape. There is no escape. There's no escape for men. There's really no escape for women. You constantly hear every year, December 31st, oh, it's a new year. It's not like the old times. Oh, last year, this is different. Everything's going to be different. And all of these rather childish statements that come about it, predominantly from women. This is not like the old times. It's different. We don't have to do this. We're educated and We're all our own bosses, so things are different. And you really are basing that on nothing more than a feeling. There is no concrete evidence that you can point to that what you say is true. This lady that I'm about to play, she's at least 70 years old in this. And I want to say this was filmed back in the 70s, maybe the 60s. She might be a first generation born citizen. Her parents, I want to say, came in her parents came in through Ellis Island with the immigration, the first original ghettos. And if you just listen to what she says, a lot of things are going to sound familiar, like creepily familiar.
Whether you're working, whether you're going to day school, at night, everybody went to night school. So what are you studying? Oh yeah, well next year I'm going to take that. And the people on the east side really knew what was going on.
Now you got to understand, when she's talking about the night school, day school, this is back when schools were segregated. Not co-ed, I want to say. Predominantly boys went to boys' school, girls went to girls' schools. But she's talking about, being very career driven, looking for new ways to make money as a means to support her independence. Very familiar talking points.
They did.
Let me show you another idea. Yuri, would you put this thing up in the other room? This is a 10-room with yard.
I'm really glad that now I have my brother's place of business to go to. I get up in the morning, I have a place to go, and I have a personal interest in the place because I know it's my brother's business.
Now, doesn't that sound like without a job to go to, specifically her brother's, she would be isolated? Where does the isolation come from? No children, no family. What do we have women talk about now? Single by choice. I don't need to be married. Married is not as big of a thing as, people make it out to be. Nothing is new. Especially these women talking to women right now. Nothing is new. You're not original. You have not come up with something new and inventive, something groundbreaking. You're actually repeating false statements that have been made by other women who didn't grow up where you grew up, look nothing like you, but having the same results.
Money is very cold comfort. In spite of the fact that I made money being a real estate broker, and it's
I'm going into real estate. Sound familiar? Sounds very familiar.
It was lots of fun getting around and doing things and so on. At the time that I was pursuing my real estate career, I was really looking for the right person to come along. An entirely different impression of it. But
the right person?
Somehow or other, the right person just didn't present itself. I was self-supporting. I never asked anybody for anything. But if the right man had come along, I would have thrown that overboard so fast and gone down to City Hall and said yes in 2 minutes.
Now remember, she said if the right man had came along, things would have been different. One would think that she has never been married, right? But getting back to if the right person, who the hell are you to think that you get everything you want? You get everything on your checklist. How insane is that? When it comes to German engineering, or even we could say Japanese craftsmanship, the ability to make things slide with almost zero gap on all four sides, but yet the tolerances are still there. There's a designed necessity to have just the tiniest bit of space between the two materials in order to put it together, in order for it to function. There is no zero gapping, true zero gapping in anything. But yet and still, if the right person came along, you get everything you want, from the rooter to the tutor. That's insane speech.
Oh, yes, one learns as one matures that love may fade, but sex endures. I did go out there with quite a number of men, and as a matter of fact, somehow or other, a lot of men asked me to go out with them who wouldn't ask me to go out when I was single. They were kind of scared, but now that I was married and divorced, somehow or other they were a little freer about asking me to go out with them.
Now remember, she said if the right one came along, so she was married. With the divorcee conversation, it's believed that you're still desirable because you can still date. But yet and still, the dates don't materialize into anything. Like she said, I've been on plenty of dates after her divorce, but she's single as the day is long. She doesn't understand why, as soon as I got divorced, all of a sudden the floodgates opened. It's the same thing that's going on now, except it's predominantly with single mothers. I could get a man. I'm still out here. People blowing me up. My DMs is full and I still get approached. Doesn't mean anything. To her, way back when, so what makes you think it's going to mean something now? Attention doesn't mean anything. So just because you get eyes, just because you get DMs, just because you get looks and money thrown at you or what have you, doesn't mean anything.
And now I was already a little more cautious. You see, I had been married. The stigma was removed. I had a Mrs. in front of my name, not MS like now, but MRS period, And when I was on the verge of taking the step, I would say to myself very simply, are you prepared to spend the rest of your life with this man?
But are you prepared to not have anybody? She's talking herself out of it. And that's why she is where she is right there in this documentary, I want to say. Am I willing? What do you mean? Like you have that many options. Seven and a half billion people on the planet. We'll say roughly 60-40 male or female. What is this one true love nonsense? What is this my one and only true? And all those derivatives of that there's just one for one, him and her. They're meant to be yada, yada, yada. Where did this exist when it was 3 billion people on the planet? How about when it was 500,000 people on the planet? How about when it was 20,000 people on the planet? Just because there are more people, just because the lines of communication have made it to where you can talk to people anywhere in your city, state, country, world, does not change anything. You get less than a handful of chances. But yet and still, just like she's talking, oh, well, I'm waiting. I'm holding out. This got to be somebody else. I got to get exactly what I want. And look at where she is. And look at where, what they said, 2035 or something like that. What is it? 50, 60% of females will be single and childless. Don't quote me on that. I heard something. I heard it. I'd be like, yeah, sounds right. I moved on. But anyway. Y'all, you ladies, you have put yourself in such a predicament that getting out of it in a pleasurable manner is almost nil. Especially because y'all are talking the same talking points from back to Ellis Island. First, second generation woman from Ellis Island. Immigrating from, I want to say Russia, I think she said. Her parents, I mean. Same talking points. Same results. Back then to now. All because, oh, well, I got to get exactly what I want. It has to be perfect. I think I could wait for somebody else. Or also, I'm a career woman. But yet and still, her only bit of joy is working at her brother's business. That's why I remember when Kevin Samuels had said, the best position to be in is to be an asset to your husband, i.e. working for your husband. Because not only do you have the safety of not having to worry about sexual harassment, but also you take part in the building and maintaining whatever of the organization. And what was the other thing? You know how to keep the banshees away from your husband that might swoop in if he has a secretary. But yet and still, oh, well, I don't want to work for him. It's just hilarious to me that somebody as old as her from at least 5, 6 generations, maybe, 5 to 7 generations from the current 20-year-olds is saying the same thing that y'all are saying now. And y'all are expecting results contrary to her.
With all the intimacies of marriage and so on. And invariably, I would hesitate, and the answer would be no.
Because she thinks she can get somebody else. She thinks somebody better is going to come along. Somebody to her liking. Not somebody that likes her, but somebody that she likes.
I couldn't take that step again. People pass away. People move away. When you're young, it's easy to make friends. But when you get older and you lose a friend, that person is lost forever, and nothing comes to fill up that space.
And that's the thing that a lot of y'all don't understand. When you think of a hermit, you think of a man. When you think of the person who's isolated from the world, you predominantly think of a man. Y'all are putting yourselves in the same predicament of something that was predominantly, if not strictly, a male personality. Does she seem excited at the fact that she's by herself? Chances are she divorced her husband or she drove her husband away. But yet and still, she's hoping and holding out for somebody to her liking to have married her or asked for her hand in marriage. But yet and still, it never happened. And look at where she is. She looks miserable. Was it 2030, 2050 or something like that? 40% of females are going to be single and childless. Y'all keep talking about, oh, well, I still got my girls. I still got my sisters. I still got my besties and all this. If they don't get their own family, they're going to die off. One of the two, or you're going to fall out. One of the three. And then you're by yourself, which is not a natural state for females.
And so little by little, I find, especially, for instance, on the high holy days when I go to temple and everybody is there, I look around at a sea of strangers. I don't know these people.
Fighting against what has always been without any proof, definitive, measurable proof that the outcomes will be positive is insane. Fighting tooth and nail to be a career woman, fighting tooth and nail to say, I want exactly what I want and I won't put myself into any type of situation where I won't get exactly what I want to the T. It's a very strange world that we live in now, considering what women have fought to and put upon everybody, because it's not only the women that suffer, the men are suffering.
You're left alone, and in that same ratio, you begin to feel that you had done the wrong thing, that you didn't have a family of your own. And that's how I feel.
No regrets or regrets. You didn't hear anything that she just said that sounds like she regrets being hyper-focused on a career, being insanely picky. Never mind, she possibly drove off her husband, or the husband left her because she was unbearable, whatever it is, or she left her husband because she wasn't getting exactly what she wanted, how she wanted. However this came to be, this is what y'all are looking forward to. Consciously or unconsciously, this is what y'all are looking forward to. And I have a sneaky suspicion as to why a first or second generation immigrant is doing the same things that 20 generations in females are doing. That's an assumption. I'm just throwing a number out. Way more than second generation to a new country. But yet and still, she does the same things that somebody who has umpteen generations in this country is doing. And in the UK. When you have an abundance of things, you tend to be less concerned about the very things that you need to be concerned about when there isn't excess. Because I honestly don't believe if you have a military conflict that's going on for years in a country that the women are fighting tooth and nail like she has fought and the women of today are fighting tooth and nail to separate themselves from what is and always has been. Getting, staying, maintaining. Getting, maintaining, and staying with that person outside of dying, dying in war, what have you, but getting, maintaining, and staying with that person as long as you can, considering the life expectancy. If your life expectancy is 76 or something like that, you should be doing whatever you got to do to keep that person that married you until you get close to 76. And honestly, I've heard women, who was it, Judge Mathis? I think his wife she's like 60 something. She wanted to, I don't know. I think y'all are just a little too damn comfortable where y'all act. Y'all act like you know time is on your side, and it's not.
My mother
It's not on anybody's side, but it's not on your side.
was a good businesswoman, and she instilled in us the necessity for a girl to be able to make a living for herself at all times, because, as my mother used to say, you never can tell what can happen with a person.
Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? Yeah, it sounds very familiar to me. The secret accounts, the coming from a place of scarcity, the anticipation of a very ugly ending, as opposed to I need to do any and everything possible to keep this person. Because this doesn't seem like a great option, considering she very career driven, married, divorced, gave a finger to a whole bunch of men. She said she dated a lot, gave her fingers to a whole bunch of men, and this is the end result of that.
The thing at that time was for a girl to get married. Girls were not having affairs with men, and the parents wanted the girls to get married. They hardly ever worried about the sons getting married.
Still, and that's to this day, this is still a complaint. When you come to a two-parent household, especially, but even with the single mothers, there's always this complaint that, well, the mothers are less concerned about the sons getting married, but they're always pushing for the daughters to get married because they know. I don't understand why y'all don't trust your own mothers. If she has decades of just general observations on her child, why the just resistance to believing what she's saying is true, or or not resistance to what she's saying is true, but the being inquisitive. Well, why? What is it about sons that you want them to stay at home, but you always want the daughters to get married off? You know, you come up with all these stories in your head, but you don't ask why. Why would mothers want their daughters to get married off, but want to keep their sons close to them? And, you can say, well, the sons are the moneymakers. Okay. why would a female want to keep her competition near her? Every mother is aware of the day or date that the daughter, whatever age it is, 10, 11, 12, that she's starting to get attention from males. You know, the inappropriate attention, but even just the attention from the, same age males. She sees competition. She sees the competition. If the mother has been accustomed, and not only is accustomed, but seeing that her ability to get attention from the little boys and, the men of her age, and even the men older than her, if she sees that she's on a decline, but yet her daughter's on the incline, why would she want to keep them around? Would it be to her advantage to get them married so as to not have the constant reminder that she's on a decline? Why would you want to keep the competition around? And if you say, oh, well, what about the fathers and the sons? Fathers generally don't see their sons as competition because they know they have things on them that the son will not attain until after the father has passed. There's not as much of a concern of keeping the son around for the father as it is for the mother to keep the daughter around. Plus, there are other things, other benefits to marriage, marrying the daughter off, but that's for another video. But the same complaints, first, second generation Ellis Island Jewish individual, same complaints that go on to this day. Not the same upbringing, not the same period of time. Everything you want to say is not the same, but yet and still the same complaints, especially from females, is consistent through the time. But yet and still, oh, it's 2025. It's different. This ain't like the olden times. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. It is still the same old. No matter how hard you fight it, your fate is set once you were born. Just like the boy's fate is set, but your fate is set.
As a matter of fact, a lot of mothers didn't want their sons to leave them because they were really the breadwinners of the family. But the girls they wanted out of the house.
Like I said, there are definite, easy to understand reasons why mothers want the daughters out the house. Just wanted to put this out. I saw this and I said, let me just get this on wax, even though it's not wax. Anyway, consider liking, subscribing, and commenting below.
Anyway, you take
Share.
care. Still love
Also,
you. Even though you're a rotten pill, still love you. Take care.